Through Each Other's Eyes, welcoming you to the 20th exchange with photographers from Himeji, Japan. Can we all celebrate? We are excited to have you here tonight to celebrate a great photography exchange. From the beautiful landscapes of Japan to the colorful regions of Arizona, our exchanges span a myriad of countries, inviting photographers from both countries to immerse themselves in the rich traditions and landscapes that define each corner of our interconnected world. Started in 1988, 37 years ago, with this gentleman right over here, Errol Zimmerman, as a co-founder, proponent of the Phoenix Sister Cities Commission's first Japan Week. Peter Eisenberger and Errol Zimmerman traveled to Japan to document the landscape and culture of our Japanese sister city. And then the two Himeji photographers traveled to Phoenix to capture the culture and landscape of Arizona. The result was an 80-print exhibit displayed in Phoenix in February 1988, and later in Japan to show us how one culture perceives another. Regular photo exchanges between Phoenix Through Each Other's Eyes photographers and members of the Himeji International Photo Society have continued from this first exhibit, and the show tonight marks the 20th anniversary of the exchange. In addition to the Japan exchanges, Through Each Other's Eyes has sent to and received photographers from cities in 13 countries around the world. In Australia, Canada, China, Cuba, Czech Republic, France, Ireland, Italy, Japan, and Mexico, Philippines, and Scotland. We mounted more than 100 exhibitions of images depicting cultural similarities and differences, provided school photos for disadvantaged youth, and created international goodwill through its many programs to help people understand and appreciate cultural differences. Last Friday, our co-founder, Errol, took me out for lunch, and he said something really meaningful to me. He said, when photographers come over to Arizona from other countries, other regions, and they go out on photo shoots, north up to the Grand Canyon, to Flagstaff, to Sedona, and south to Tucson and Tombstone, it's much more than just going out to those places. It's much more than just the area and the region. It's much richer than that. It's about learning each other's life ways, the customs, the ethnology, the people, about developing lasting relationships. The exchange is all about the human connection, which led to our organization's mission. Our mission statement is to encourage people around the world to understand and appreciate diverse cultures through photography. And so we're so glad that you're here tonight, and we want to honor and celebrate our two photographers, Brandon Sullivan, which is right here, thank you, and Claudia Johnstone. I just wanted to share with you, Jeff, if you could point to that QR code right on that wall, on that pier. Can you go over there and point to that, please? That QR code and this QR code that's right up here, you can, didn't want to get too close to that speaker. You can go to that QR code and you can start to look at the idea of possibly purchasing one of the prints. And you can buy just the print, or eventually you can purchase the work that's already framed. So right now I'd love to introduce to you our president of Through Each Other's Eyes, Bob Rink.
Stage fright, how's that? Okay. So Brandon and Claudia have been recognized. I want to thank them for an excellent job coordinating this. And with our Japanese brothers, you did a wonderful job. I like to think that we pick out images that are similar to our lifestyles and differences. So I think you guys did a good job. So there's another special part of this evening that we wanted to take a moment and recognize, Joe Wojcik of Tempe Camera. And I'm going to start out with a little bit of a narrative. The first John R. Norton Vision Award was presented to John Norton himself, honoring him for creating a special place in the Phoenix Art Museum to exhibit photography, which is coordinated by the Center for Creative Photography at U of A in Tucson. So it's at Phoenix Art Museum. Usually photography has generally been ignored at the Art Museum, and he made it a place. The second presentation recognized John Schaefer, former president of the U of A, who was instrumental in establishing the Center for Creative Photography, which exhibits photography and houses the archives of prominent photographers, including Ansel Adams and many others. Phoenix College photography professor Alan Dutton was the third Arizonan to be honored for his many years inspiring student photographers, which included Pulitzer Prize winning Ryan Lanker. The fourth person is our very own Errol Zimmerman, who's over here, who has taught photography, journalism, and world studies for many years as a high school teacher and strived to create a better world of understanding through Phoenix Sister Cities and helped found our group Through Each Other's Eyes. So now we wish to honor Tempe Camera founder and owner, sorry, a little bit emotional on my part, Joe Wojcik, for his support of photography in Arizona and beyond. He has contributed to many photography projects and programs, including ours, with financial support, donating cameras for special education projects, using his conference room for our monthly meetings, and many other ways. He has founded a full-service photography business, including sales, rentals, repairs, printing, with a generous heart that the community has come to rely on since 1972. It is interesting to note that Joe was a photography student of Alan Dutton at Phoenix College, who recommended that he apply for a job at Wilson Camera, where he learned camera repair. That's where Joe really started as far as photography. I was fortunate enough to have my last conversation with Joe at his bench in Tempe Camera, as many of us has had with him over the years. We had planned to recognize him for his contributions to the photography community for the past few years as COVID got in the way. Joe was a low-key guy and didn't care to be in the spotlight, and that was my concern. So we thought a small presentation at one of our photo exhibit openings would be perfect. In my conversation, I popped the question, would you mind TEOE recognizing him at our event this evening, and would he show up? He said yes. He wrote a note and stuck it on his workbench. I told him we'd share that date with Sue in the office, and we continued our conversation on other stuff like travel. Joe left us a couple of weeks later and will always be in our thoughts as he is this evening. Eloisa? No? Okay. Sue, thank you. So, I'd like to present the 5th John R. Norton Vision Award to his wife, Eloisa, and his longtime and only general manager, Sue Delaney Smith. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. We would like to introduce Eileen Takiguchi. Eileen, Chair of the Himeji Committee of the Phoenix Sister Cities Commission. Thank you, Eileen.
Thank you everyone for coming. Congratulations to Each Other's Eyes for this great connection that you've carried on. We're really happy and very proud of you to continue this joinment with the Himeji. And also I'd like to thank the garden, the Japanese Friendship Garden, for also hosting the appetizers here that you see this evening. And also what's really interesting is Through Each Other's Eyes is a branch with Himeji, and the garden also shares a connection with the sister garden there. So we have Kokoan and Rohoan International Sister Gardens in Himeji, and then we also have the photography. So I'm loving how we can see all these like branches coming out and keeping this connection going. Also, I would like to share a letter with you from the mayor of Himeji that he sent through Each Other's Eyes. And Camille King, she is the vice chair for the sister city, Himeji, and she's going to read that letter to you.
I would like to offer my warmest congratulations to Through Each Other's Eyes, on holding their 20th Japan Phoenix Photography Exchange Exhibition. Through their collaboration with the Himeji International Photographers Society, Through Each Other's Eyes has introduced the cultures of Phoenix and Himeji in both our cities, allowing us not only to discover the fascinating qualities of life overseas, but rediscover the appeal of our own cultures as well. It is thanks to everyone's heartfelt enthusiasm that we have been able to overcome cultural and language barriers and hold the 20th exhibition since this exchange started over 30 years ago. In October of last year, I had the pleasure of meeting Errol Zimmerman, Brandon Sullivan, and Claudia Johnstone, and was sincerely touched by their eagerness to restart this exchange after the coronavirus pandemic. This year, I attended the exhibition held here in Himeji and found Brandon and Claudia's photos both refreshing and fascinating, and very much enjoyed the charming photos of Phoenix taken by Mr. Matsushita and Mr. Yamamoto. From now on, I hope that we are able to continue this photography exchange and keep on introducing new perspectives of Himeji as seen from the eyes of those in Phoenix City. And furthermore, I hope for the growth development of friendly relations between our two cities. It is my sincerest wish that this photo exhibition is another successful step forward for both the photographer associations in Phoenix City and Himeji, and wish everyone good health and continued success in their endeavors. Best regards, Kiyomoto Hideyasu, and this is the mayor of Himeji City. Thank you.
When you really believe in something, you work hard and you do what it takes and you never give up. And that's what we feel our associate photographers do time and time again. Thank you to Claudia and Brandon for the truth and beauty you compose in your photographs. It's outstanding. Continuing the traditions of the exchange with integrity, courage, creativity, and perseverance. So thank you for that. We would like to recognize and honor our two Japanese photographers who are not here tonight, Yamamoto Masaya and Matsushita Toshikazu. And to help share their stories, we'd like to introduce both Claudia Johnstone and Brandon Sullivan to come up and share a few stories about their time in Japan and what their experience meant to them.
Hello everyone, konnichiwa. Thank you so much, sorry I need help, I need this as help. Thank you so much for joining us this evening to celebrate the 20th Photography Exchange with Japan. As you can imagine, it takes a village to make an exchange and an event like this happen. It took a lot of hands and minds, so thank you to everyone for helping. Also thank you to Kelly and for the library to host us here tonight. I'd also like to thank Brandon, my travel partner. He was so easy to travel with, and I feel like we had a great balance between giving each other some space, but also having each other's back. I'm very grateful for my experience to be able to travel to Himeji, Japan with TEOE. It was my first time in Asia, so a completely different culture for me. And although I've traveled quite a bit in Europe, this was very different. It's just a beautiful experience to see how you can communicate beyond words. And a smile goes a long way because that's the universal language. And we were really spoiled from day one. We were taken to places where we otherwise wouldn't have been able to go. We met people that we probably wouldn't have been able to meet otherwise. We met the mayor of Himeji, who even came to our farewell party. We were treated like royalty. We were treated like we were famous, and we even had the newspaper come out and take photos of us. So that was an unusual experience. And yeah, the language barrier definitely felt different for me. It was unusual. But again, the way that you can connect on a different level without words is an experience that was fairly new to me. And I'll forever feel connected to our hosts. It was really, and I'm going to get emotional because it was really such a wonderful connection that we had. The trip really affected my photography in a profound way, because I hadn't really seen myself as a street photographer, and I mainly do portrait photography, editorial and commercial. So I use my lights, studio lights and everything. I take that on location, and I love doing that. But being in Japan, obviously I didn't have those tools available, and we were there to document the culture and the people. So I was a little bit outside of my comfort zone. And as they say, it's outside of the comfort zone where the magic happens. So I feel like I was really able to embrace that type of photography and learn a lot. I was able to really harness, what I've done in the past and in this new environment, and just combine that all in a different type of photography. So I feel like it's almost started a new chapter in my photography journey, to where I'm going to do more of that, being able to capture a different culture, and also not having to worry about anything, because all we had to do was have our cameras on us. So we didn't have to worry about where we were going, what we were doing, what's the next train we have to catch. All we had to do was concentrate on photography, which was obviously very freeing and a beautiful experience. So I was asked to show my favorite image. Now, it's like a mother with her children. It's hard to say which one's your favorite. However, this one is special to me for a variety of reasons. It has architecture, which I have a background in, and it also was the result of an experiment, because I usually don't use the flip-out screen of the camera, but in this instance I did. So basically we were on a lunch break. We were literally having lunch sitting at the curb and having like a little bento box from the supermarket, and I was watching all these interesting people walk by. And then I of course saw the background, which I loved, the colorful background with all the food stalls. And it wasn't super busy yet, but again, people were walking by with what I did was I basically put the camera on the ground, flipped the screen over so that I was able to see what was happening while I was just sitting there with the camera on the ground. And then I did manual focus on the background, and so everything that was in the front was out of focus and blurry. And I took several shots, but this one was definitely my favorite. And I think from this scene in particular, I'm sure I took like a few, but this one I feel like lined up perfectly. The shape of the legs picks up the shape of the triangles behind him. And I also love the fact that he was wearing the traditional outfit for that day, because this was a Matsuri festival weekend, and this was out on the outskirts of Himeji City. So yeah, he's wearing the traditional outfit. You can see that by the shoes, and I really loved the composition, and that's one of my favorites.